All right, football fans, listen up. Forget the trade deadline, forget the free agency frenzy, because we have the most important piece of NFL news you will hear all season.
You guys seen the title. Breaking news. Coming soon. That's right. Sean McDermott, we woke up this morning. Sean McDermott got fired from the Buffalo Bills after that embarrassing loss yesterday. We saw over the weekend Matt LaFleur gets extended with the Green Bay Packers. What does this mean for the Miami Dolphins? What does this mean for the Miami Dolphins organization? Does this mean now that we completed the Rooney Rule, literally within the last hour, completed our second interview to oblige the Rooney Rule, right? Does that mean here in the next 30 minutes or so we could be getting breaking news live here on the AFC Eastieeboys? Breaking news that the Miami Dolphins signed Jeff Hafley as the next head coach.
Don't agree with it? That's too bad.
Like and subscribe anyways.
Like and subscribe anyways.
Patrick Graham, 26 minutes ago, we completed our interview with Patrick Graham, and then earlier this morning we had our interview with Kelvin Shepard. So this basically completes the Rooney Rule, and now will allow the Miami Dolphins to pull in or actually make their decision on head coach. The question now is, are they going to make a decision? Are we going to see a headline come up here in the next 30 minutes talking about the Miami Dolphins have made an announcement? They have signed their next head coach, and it's going to be Jeff Hafley. Now, a lot of people in the Dolphins community aren't really liking the idea of Jeff Hafley.
Another day on the shitter is how I see it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sitting here refreshing my Twitter feed every 5 minutes to see if the news breaks. Now that we've satisfied our Rooney Rule, we can actually make the decision. But I mean, I was just saying, like, should we make a decision or should we be patient and wait? I mean, what's the, in my opinion, what's the point of rushing through it? Like, if we make a decision now and say let's say that in the next 30 minutes to an hour or so, or even sometime tomorrow, the Dolphins announce Jeff Hafley as the head coach. I'm not saying that that's the worst thing in the world, but that would mean that we passed up on our second interviews with Clint Kubiak and Chris Shula to just go ahead and put a guy in the building.
Facts. I mean, so I'm gonna play a little devil advocate here. What would be so bad about hiring somebody now? Because the faster we get somebody, the faster we can move forward with the process.
But I mean, what's 2 more weeks in the grand scheme of things, right? We have our general manager in the building, so at the end of the day, like, he doesn't really need a coach in the building at the moment to evaluate the players on the team, evaluate the players coming up in the draft. Like, do we really need a coach in the building right this minute? Can we be patient and go through across all our T's and dot all our I's, make sure that we are hiring the best candidate possible for the job rather than the best candidate available at the time?
Facts. I mean, I'm with you. I feel like we should just go ahead and wait anyway. You know,
To our coaches, trust me, we'll be letting you know. If we're not live when it happens, I'll make a video and I'll let all of you know. Trust me.
yeah.
But at the moment, it is not official.
I don't think we hiring them. Well, let's say we are expected to hire Jeff.
They said we're expected to hire.
Yeah. So they probably agreed on the contract. Just I don't get it.
Where do you see that at? On Twitter?
Nah, the NFL app.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Adam Schefter just tweeted 1 minute ago. Dolphins now have hired former Packers personnel man John Eric Sullivan as their general manager and former Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley as their head coach. Just
Yeah.
now, breaking news.
Yep. Miami is expected to hire defensive coordinator. Yep. That's Rapoport, Iron Rapoport.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news: the Miami Dolphins hiring their new head coach, Jeff Hafley.
He spent the past 2 seasons in charge of Green Bay defense. In his first year, his group finished 6th in points allowed and 5th in yards allowed.
And we have some playmakers to work with for sure. In my opinion, I feel like our defensive names stand out more than their defensive names. I mean, obviously, other than Micah Parsons, like he's a different animal. He's a different beast.
Yeah.
And that was also something I wanted. I wanted us to go with a defensive-minded head coach, get an offensive coordinator, get a defensive coordinator, and it also makes sense because if now we can afford to get rid of Anthony Weaver, right? Because if
Facts.
we have a defensive-minded head coach, we don't necessarily need the defensive coordinator. We want one so that the head coach can do his job as the head coach and not have to do what Mike was doing, where he was calling plays, like being the OC and being the coach at the same time.
Well, he was a head coach for the Eagles in 2020 to 23, leading the Eagles to a 500 record or better in 3 of his 4 seasons with the Eagles.
Joe Rist, we screwed with this coach. Can't tell me we got the best candidate. We hired him because he was Green Bay. See, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Me and Kenny, you'll have to go back and listen to it. But we were talking about this earlier because we broke down his interview and shit. And like one point in his interview, he was talking about his decisions aren't going to be based off personal preferences. His decisions are going to be based on what makes this team better. You know, he's gonna make his decisions to better the team. And people were pointing out that could be a lie because if he brings in his friend Jeff Hafley from Green Bay. Well, my counter to that, Joe, is what if he's seen these other guys and he's worked with Jeff Hafley and he knows that Jeff Hafley is the best guy to fit this scheme, to build this team and take it to a winning caliber team.
Well, I mean,
It could be a friendly Sully buddy. Who knows?
but he got
It's
some
the
of the
first,
skills that Vance Joseph got, though. You know, he was a defensive back coach with the Buccaneers, the Browns, and the 49ers. And he was a head coach. He was Boston College head coach from 2020 to 23, leading the Eagles to you know what I'm saying? So that was my fault. It wasn't the Philadelphia Eagles, it was Boston College. He was with at the head coach with for 3 years or 4 years. So I mean, he got experience, you know. He done been through the turmoil a little bit, it seemed like.
but at the same time, Joe, I was kind of in the boat. I was in the boat where I wanted us to wait and be patient, right? Because we had a whole list of coaches that we wanted to interview, and we still had other coaches that we wanted to do a second interview with that we're not going to do that, right? And I know where you're coming from. Like, did we get the best candidate? We don't know if we got the best candidate. because we still had more coaches that we were planning on interviewing, but we had to wait until next week because they're in their championship games. So now we won't know if those guys are better. But to what Kenna pointed out, those guys might not even wanted to come here. So us waiting, we could have waited and ended up beating our heads against the wall because now we waited on 2 or 3 guys that are still in the playoffs to find out if they're the better candidate than the one we have sitting in front of us right now. We could have waited on that and then find out they wanted to go elsewhere. They're not going to take this job. And now here we are stuck with 3 options that nobody wanted, and we're stuck in a worse position than we were before. So it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't in a situation like this. And like we just kind of gotta ride it out, and hopefully it works. And based on what Eric Sullivan was saying in his interview, and like based on his career and everything, I feel like we're in a good spot. I feel like Jeff Hafley can work. Was it my top choice? No, it wasn't. But here we are. Now we got to live with it.
So yeah, basically he just went and hired somebody that's gonna side with him, and you can't be too mad at that because in this cruel business, you do need somebody that have your back. Because he can easily come over here and be a scapegoat.
Yeah, so I guess now we got to figure out what goes on with Waddle.
Yeah, I think Waddle up out of here.
Waddle, Tyreek, Tua.
Well, we know Tua gone. We know Tua gone. What I know we got somebody in the chat now. You don't know he's not gone.
You don't know that. Tua's the man. Tua's going to win us a Super Bowl. Boy, if you think Tua's going to win us a Super Bowl, you need to go see my joke of the day from 3 weeks ago, man. I put up that meme of Tua where with the cross-eyed, where the people photoshopped it where he's got cross-eyed.
Yeah.
And basically it was like joke of the day, right? And then had that picture, Dolphin fans thinking this guy's going to win them a Super Bowl.
Yeah. They get the donkey of the day. Hee-haw, hee-haw.
Oh man. All right, well, we got 2 places in peace so far. Now we got about 6 more puzzle pieces that we got to figure out in this off season before we can go into the next season with a fully put together puzzle. I'm guessing we're probably going to lose a lot of our coaching staff. I think that was already one of the things Eric Sullivan was talking about, going through with a fine-tooth comb, basically going through our coaching staff and seeing who's going to stay and who's not going to stay, which I'm totally cool with because most of our coaching staff needs to go anyways because the majority of them have been here for 2 to 3 years or longer, and they've been a part of the problem because we haven't been getting better, and you guys have been in this building, and not only have you guys been in this building not helping the team get better, but you've also been in this building learning bad habits.
Now that McDaniel is gone, Weaver shouldn't be that far behind him. I don't see us keeping Weaver now. You know.
The only problem I see with that is I don't see Weaver landing a job. There's too many certified coaches out there.
He fucked himself. He fucked himself by coming here thinking he could. Weaver was a no-go from the jump, yo. Like I said, man, you know, that talent Weaver had over there in Baltimore was saving his ass because everybody want to say our secondary ain't do too bad, this, that, and the third. but we didn't ever put our secondary in a high pressure moment to see if they could hold up. You know, so yeah, I wasn't never a fan of Weaver. He's too. He liked to keep his mouth shut too much for me.
Yeah, it just sucks
I
because now I
needed.
feel like we're going to be stuck with him.
Yeah, I mean, it don't make no sense. Two defensive minded players, your defensive coordinator and your head coach. No, get rid of Weaver. We should have just got rid of Weaver from the jump and demoted Mike, and then went from there. Like, we're just about to see what this offense look like now, being that we don't have an offensive minded coach.
I mean, that's going to be the scariest part, right? I feel like that's definitely going to be the scariest part because we don't have questions for offense either. Like we're already talking about the quarterback carousel that we have. We're already talking about our top two wide receivers not being on this team. We don't have any real tight ends. Like the only surefire thing we have on this team, especially on offense, is Devon Achane. Everyone else is average at best. Like they have moments, don't get me wrong. Ollie Gordon has moments to where he looks like he could definitely be a stud. Jalen Wright has moments where he looks like he definitely can be a stud, but at the end of the day, like haven't really been consistent with it. It's more sporadic, and that probably a lot of that was probably Mike McDaniel's play calls and like the scheme and the fit, you know what I mean? So yeah,
But
I
we
mean,
just heard it from Sullivan himself. As a general manager, it's up to you to bring the personnel in so your head coach can be versatile in his play calling. So your
yes.
offense can take on varies of different looks. So I mean, again, I wasn't out on Mike. I knew the situation from the jump. So yeah, we hopefully bro got some insight or knowledge about offense. But maybe this ain't our last hire as for a coach.
Might not be. He could be coming in on a 1-year deal. We don't know. Like,
Most definitely
I
see
mean,
us get offensive coordinator now.
yeah, for sure.
We just got rid of our best offensive coordinator.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny. We see tomorrow morning like Mike McDaniel in some weird funky suit on a plane on his way to Florida for an interview for OC because the Detroit Lions OC job got filled. The Falcons head coaching job got filled. What else? There was another one. Baltimore OC job got filled. Arizona's OC job got filled. Um,
The Browns still open.
yeah, but I don't think Mike McDaniel's knocking on the door to go coach for the Browns. Like they're a worse organization than we are.
Yeah, I ain't saying he's knocking on the door, but they just might come and knocking for him.
I really wish I knew how that last meeting went with like Stephen Ross and Mike McDaniel. Like to wonder if like bringing Mike back as the OC is off the table or not. You know what I mean?
I know how it went.
How to
Mike
how to
came.
go?
Here go Ross. Before you
Let's hear it.
before you sit down, Mike, I just got one question for you. Did Jalen Ramsey slap you? You're done. You're done.
Well, we got news from Tyreek Hill that actually happened. He said Tyreek Hill, and I quote, said he slapped the taste out of Mike's mouth.
Man, that's the
And I do have that on recording, ladies and gentlemen. I do have that on recording, but the only way that y'all get to see that recording is through my Discord. So if y'all are not plugged into the AFC Eastieeboys Discord yet, the link is in the chat. Make sure y'all join in and y'all can see that clip. Because yeah, I do have the clip of it. Tyreek Hill saying that Mike or Jalen Ramsey slapped the taste out of Mike's mouth.
Yeah, that like I said, that's the only thing. That's it. You know, I said to myself, I cannot have my head coach getting slapped by a player. I just can't.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Mike McDaniel, bro. He's just like a kid that's an adult. I mean, what really can Mike do if he's getting slapped by a grown ass man?
But I still need you to have the whereabout, the sense, and the knowledge not to put yourself in any of those situations. That's telling me
See,
that's telling me Mike was completely oblivious to his ass about to get slapped.
yeah, and like another point on that too is like if you a good head coach, no matter what your size is or what you look like, if you're a good head coach and you're out there inserting that dominance in your team, ain't none of your players gonna dare slap you. They're
Fact.
not even gonna. It's not even gonna come across their mind. I mean, what about that one Tyreek Hill video that went viral where he's talking about he want to punch Mike McDaniel?
And
You know what
that
I mean? If you a good head coach that instills dominance in your team, like it ain't even gonna be thinking like that.
nope, nope. So I mean, hey, yeah. Well, I would like to know what how that I want to know. Matter of fact, I want to know how that interview with Eric Sullivan and Ross went. I mean, obviously we know it went good. He got the job, but I
The details, like what was talked
yeah,
about,
yeah, I would like to know how he.
expectations.
You know what I'm saying? Cause it seemed like the way Mike McDaniel got fired, it seemed like Ross was firing him so we can go after Harbaugh.
Yeah, it seemed like that too. Like it did seem like that, right? Just because of like the series of events that led up to it. You know, Chad Alexander gets entered into the GM search, and then he comes in for an interview like that. You know what I mean? As soon as he gets entered into the GM search, he comes for an interview, and then a couple hours later, John Harbaugh gets fired, and there's rumors, like all the rumors go twirling around on Twitter of all the connections, you know, between Harbaugh and Ross and all of that, and then Mike McDaniel getting fired 2 days later. Like, yeah, everything was pointing to John Harbaugh for sure.
But I mean, this is something that I've been looking at too, and I don't think Harbaugh has any respect for Ross football wise. And with that being said, like I wonder how much respect Sullivan got for Ross football wise because he did say, and you know, he did say that just because everybody got an opinion don't mean everybody gonna be making the decisions.
Yeah, no, and like that was probably like the deal breaker for Sullivan to take this job. And like Sully was probably on the train to where he probably wasn't on board with Mike McDaniel as a coach. Like that could have been the situation, you know what I mean? Like
True.
Sullivan could have gave his stipulations, and his stipulations could have been, well, first off, it's gonna, yes, I will take y'all's advice, I will take y'all's opinions, but at the end of the day, the final decision is gonna be up to me, and it's not gonna be from the collective. It's not gonna come from Garfinkel. It's not gonna come from Brandon Shore. Like I respect their opinions, but at the end of the day, it's my job to make this team better. And if you're not going to be on board with that, Ross, we can end the conversation here. Ross is like, oh, no, no, no. I'm completely on board with that. That's why I brought in Troy Aikman, because I don't know football. You guys know football. Yes, I'm totally on board with that. Oh, and by the way, Mike McDaniel's got to go.
I wonder how Ross gonna feel when he make decisions or play and pick players that doesn't fit to Ross selling to make a profit off of.
Um, I don't. And see, that's a tough slippery slope there as well. Like that one's a super slippery slope because like at the end of the day, you would think that like if you're winning championships, it shouldn't matter if it fits your pocketbook MO or not, because at the end of the day, championships are going to bring in more money. Like if you're winning more, you're going to have more fan base, you're going to sell more products. I mean, you can take this year as a perfect example, right? I don't know how many people canceled their memberships for next year. I'm one of them that canceled my membership for next year because I just don't know what the landscape looks like. Had we have made it into the playoffs this past year, had we have been relevant, had we have been a good team for the last couple of years, I would still have my membership. So it's like at the end of the day, Ross needs to just keep his fucking brain out of the football shit and just you be the financial guy that goes out there and you continue working on your Formula One, you continue making this stadium a place where people want to come to and the money will come to you. Don't worry about what we put on the field. He's going to put a winning product out there on the field for your fans to rebuy all their season tickets and buy all this new um, gear. And like that's probably another thing too that attracted Ross, right? Because like when Tua came in, right, everybody was saying, "Oh, Tua was brought in to sell jerseys." Well, Sullivan is supposedly a guru when it comes to drafting players, and we're going to need to draft a whole bunch of new players in the upcoming years. So there's going to be a whole bunch of new jersey sales you're going to be able to make, right?
Yeah, yeah. But how can you make them jersey sales when you're not drafting the sexy player that will sell that jersey?
I mean, but we don't know that yet.
Sound like that's what it
We don't.
sounds like. Sullivan is headed in this draft. He's not going after the because Tua was a big name then. I don't see
What he
Eric
said.
Sullivan
He,
after.
he he said we're gonna pick the best player available at that position.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but you know, best player available could really mean that it's not the player we think it is.
Yeah, I really think now I really think Eli Stowers is off the board for the Miami Dolphins, but who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah. That's just like we was, you know, there's two players we got on our team. Well, one player now, but we had two players on our team, and it was a debate. You know what I'm saying? Who was it? Waddle or Smith? Smith or Waddle? We see who winning that debate right now. And we had another one, Jalen Phillips or Greg Russo. You know what I'm saying? Like the organization was telling us Jalen Phillips was the better player out of Russo, but who's still on their team that they got drafted and who's not?
Right, and that's also an that also goes back to the organizational thing too. Like we were a shit show when we're bringing these players in. Let's wait until see how Phillips does next year, right? Because like he went to the Eagles and he did fairly well for them. Like he had a couple sacks, got a couple tackles for loss, was pressuring quarterback. Didn't I think he suffered an injury late though, didn't he? Like last game of the season or something.
Yeah. Well, Phillips always been that type of player where he's always going to be somebody robbing. He's never going to be the Batman, and we drafted him to be the Batman. The same way we brought Bradley Chubb over here to be the Batman. Them players are Robins. Just like Kenneth Grant, he's a Robin, not a Batman. So I mean, I hope Eric Sullivan is well on point with his evaluation. Like he's saying, he is. I mean, he was ahead of player personnel. So
Yeah,
you
and that's
know,
basically the only position he's ever had. So
yeah,
he better be good at it. because the fate of the Miami Dolphins lies in his hands.
Yep. Can't argue
But
with his track record right now.
yeah, I gotta get off here. I gotta start doing some dad things.